Hey, I'm Sam Schulte, and I live in Mounds View, Minnesota. And in the winter, I play in Mounds View, and my favorite player is Sidney Crosby.
Hi, my name is Cole Brownhausen. I live in Lake Elmo, Minnesota. My winter hockey club is Stillwater. My favorite player is Alex Ovechkin.
Hi, my name is Tucker. I live in Edina, Minnesota, and for my winter, I play for Edina, and my favorite hockey player is Zach Parise.
My name is Austin Gibson. I live in Rochester, Minnesota. I play for Rochester Youth Hockey Association, and my favorite player is Alex Ovechkin.
Hi, my name is Ryder Betzold. I'm from Farmington, Minnesota, and I played for Farmington Tigers in the winter, and my favorite hockey player is TJ Oshie.
Hi, my name is Henry Ament. I live in Orono, Minnesota, and I play for the Orono Spartans. And then my favorite hockey player is Zach Parise.
Hi, my name is Dylan Otten. I'm from Burnsville, Minnesota, and in the winter I play for the Minnesota Blades, and my favorite hockey player is Connor McDavid.
Hi, my name is Cade Sherman. I'm from Rosemount, Minnesota. I play for Rosemount Irish in the winter. My favorite hockey player is Matthew Barzal.
My name is Gavin Core. I live in Rochester, Minnesota. My winter team is Rochester, and my favorite hockey player is Connor McDavid.
My name is Eddie Oren. I live in Mendota Heights, Minnesota. I play for Sibley Warriors in the winter, and my favorite hockey player is Austin Matthews.
My name is Jack Colchin. I'm from Chanhassen, Minnesota. In winter, I play for Chaska Chanhassen, and my favorite player is Steven Stamkos.
My name is Colin Conway, and I'm from Farmington, Minnesota, and I play for Farmington Tigers in the winter. My favorite hockey player is Austin Matthews.
My name is Jack Stanius. My hometown is Forest Lake, and my hockey team that I play for in the winter is Forest Lake Rangers, and then my favorite player has got to be Marian Hossa.
Hi, my name is Jacob Guile. I'm from Farmington, Minnesota. I play for the Farmington Tigers, and my favorite player is Dustin Byfuglien.
Hi, my name is Jackson Johnson. I'm from Matamidi, and my winter club is the Matamidi Zephyrs. My favorite player is Mario Lemieux.
Hi, my name is Owen Lunenborg. I live in Bloomington, Minnesota. I play for Bloomington Jefferson in the winter, and my favorite hockey player is Braden Holtby.
Hey, I'm Sam Schulte, and I live in Mounds View, Minnesota. And in the winter, I play in Mounds View, and my favorite player is Sidney Crosby.
Hi, my name is Cole Brownhausen. I live in Lake Elmo, Minnesota. My winter hockey club is Stillwater. My favorite player is Alex Ovechkin.
Alright, my name is Mateo Rafael Nunez. I live in a small town right next to Milwaukee. It's called New Berlin. I play for the Milwaukee Junior Admirals. My favorite player is Matt Zuccarello.
My name is Trayton Schumacher. I'm from Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, and my favorite player is Patrick Kane.
My name is Wyatt Earhart. I grew up in Middleton, play for Milwaukee Junior Admirals, and my favorite player is Patrick Kane.
My name is Isaac Sabo. I live in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, and I play for the Fond du Lac Thunder. My favorite player is Pavel Datsyuk.
My name is Blaine Cron. My hometown is Eagle, Wisconsin. I played for the Milwaukee Junior Admirals, and my favorite player is Ryan McDonough.
Hi, my name is Nathan Budas. I live in Rocky River, Ohio. I play for the Cleveland Barons, and my favorite player is Pavel Datsyuk.
Hi, my name is Braden Hamoki. I live in Grafton, Ohio. My winter club is the Cleveland Barons, and my favorite player is Ryan McDonough.
My name is Tristan Hurley. I'm from Horicon, Wisconsin. I play for the Junior Gamblers, and my favorite player is Duncan Keith.
My name is Samuel Anderson. My hometown is Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I play for Junior Admirals. My favorite player is Connor McDavid.
Hi, my name is Cooper Simon. I'm from Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. I play for the Milwaukee Junior Admirals, and my favorite player is Ryan Suter.
My name is Nathan Ante. I'm from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I play on the Junior Gamblers, and my favorite player is Vladimir Tarasenko.
My name is
Tyler Michelson. My hometown is in Kenosha, Wisconsin. My winter club team is the Milwaukee Junior Admirals, and my favorite player is Carey Price.
My name is Ben Slivko. I live in Hudson, Ohio. I play for the Cleveland Barons, and my favorite player is Connor McDavid.
My name is Beckett Sabinosh. I live in Racine, Wisconsin. My winter club is Milwaukee Junior Admirals, and my favorite player is...
My name is Dalton Delosier. My hometown is Cleveland, Ohio. My winter club team is the Cleveland Barons, and my favorite player is Evgeny Malkin.
My name's Corbin Gephardt. I'm from Marquette, Michigan. I played for the Marquette Sentinels, and my favorite player is Patrick Kane.
My name is Landon Carpenter. I'm from Marquette, Michigan. I played for Marquette Sentinels. My favorite player is Vladimir Tarasenko.
It's a great day for hockey here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We are on the campus of the University of Minnesota and at 3M Arena at Mariucci. This is Youth Hockey Hub's 2018 coverage of the North American Hockey Showcase, also affectionately known as The Show. We've got Minnesota taking on Great Lakes. It'll be Minnesota in the baby blue uniforms with white numerals and navy trim going from left to right, in white with Carolina blue numerals and navy trim going from right to left are Great Lakes. Great Lakes will go with Mark Michelson in between the pipes. Their starting defense is Dalton Delosier and Corbin Gephardt. On the wings, Samuel Anderson and Trayton Schumacher, centered by Nathan Ante. Quickly in and elevating a shot up and over was Gavin Core. He's centering the top line for Minnesota. On the wings, Ryder Betzold and Henry Ament. Defensively, they go with Austin Gibson and Jack Coltgen, and the goaltender is Jackson Johnson. Controlling at their own blue line, Minnesota, although nearly gave that up for a moment. They'll play it ahead for Betzold. Tape-to-tape pass, laying it onto his stick, and Betzold will turn the corner, comes out front, and with it, a little bit of resistance there as they try a centering pass for Core. Turn to the outside as Coltgen looks for a centering pass. Letts was the intended target as he was back at the left point. Mishandles it, but Jack Stanius able to pick it up for Minnesota. No problems as they'll move it along. Little bit of rough sledding here in the neutral ice, but Minnesota is able to gain the zone. Pass up the middle. Have to be careful there, but Great Lakes does it to perfection, and they'll bring it into the offensive zone. With time, nice drop pass there by Mateo Nunag, who has 3 goals and 4 points, both of those leading the Great Lakes team to this portion of the tournament. Great Lakes has played in just 2 games, so that's even more of a feat. I believe they're the last team to play their 3rd game. They fell to Great Plains by a score of 10-5, but scored 5 again in a victory over Team USA 5-4. As for Minnesota, victorious over Team USA 3-2, but then fell in overtime to Rocky Mountain, the team currently sitting 2nd in the standings, by a score of 2-1 in overtime, picking up a point for that effort, and then were doubled up by Great Plains 8-4. Minnesota's Conway on the puck, looking to move it up the left wing side, and advancing it was Conway. That's Kellen Conway out of Farmington, Minnesota. Part of the Farmington Tigers program. Over to the left side. Nice pass in stride, maybe a little bit behind Great Lakes' Nathan Budos, but he's able to get to it from Rocky River, Ohio. The Great Lakes team coached by Mike Budos. I believe that's his father. For Minnesota, it's Todd Gibson calling the shots. Lifted through, but didn't get all the way through. And so, well offside, diving back. Nice job, Great Lakes, keep it onside. Takes a deflection, and it's in. That one hit off of the back boards, right off of the Live Fearless MN Blue Cross Blue Shield dasher board, and then was a loose puck that just needed to be redirected back on target. Seemed harmless enough, but the slow rolling puck did find its way over the goal line. Time of the goal for Great Lakes, 3 minutes, 16 seconds, and we've got our first score of this morning's competition. Great Lakes looking for a centering pass, and it's loose for a moment. They'll pounce on that and keep it in the offensive zone. That'll slip through the defense, so it'll be still picked up by Great Lakes and Dalton Delosier, but they're unable to keep the zone because that one rolled all the way out. Corbin Gephardt back, tries to feed it up the right wing side. Minnesota makes that difficult. They'll get this ahead for Schumacher. So it was a goal scored by Nathan Budos, although they call it unassisted. I'm not quite sure how that could be, as the shot was generated off of an initial shot. But Budos gets credit with his first point of this 2018 installment of the North American Hockey Showcase in its 4th year. And if we've got time, we'll go over some of the history of the tournament, as the teams have changed a little bit over the years. Sometimes we've had regions that are formed. Sometimes they've joined together. For an example, there was an Ontario Black and an Ontario Red division. Back in 2015, Ontario Black came away with the title. Those two eventually formed into one program, and they were victorious the last 2 years. So Ontario hoisting the cup of the North American Hockey Showcase in the first 3 years. Who will it be this year? And early on, the odds-on favorite, New England, who rolled to a couple of decisive victories in their first 2 games. Much tougher sledding for them this morning. They played in the early game and defeated Rocky Mountain by a score of 1-0. Right now, as we take a look at the standings, those are the top 2 teams in pool play. With New England now 9 points in the bank, Rocky Mountain with 8. This Great Plains team sitting alone in second. or excuse me, the Great Plains team in second, and then this Minnesota team sitting in, or excuse me, in fourth with 4 points. Great Lakes looking to apply some pressure. The thing for Great Lakes that they have going for them is they have a game in hand on everybody else in the tournament. Everyone else has played 3. They've played just 2. Trying to go low with the shot, and that was kept out by Johnson towards the net. Didn't miss by much as it kicks off the side. 8:48 to play in our opening frame. Looking for an exiting pass. It's kept in at least momentarily by Isaac Sabel, who is the player of the game in the 5-4 victory over Team USA. Sabel from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. His winter team, Fond du Lac Blue Line. Otten will make sure he stays on side as it's brought in from one side, lifted, and it rolls towards the goal line, kept out by a glove of one of the Great Lakes players. Then they're able to sweep it away. Nice job there defensively for Great Lakes to keep their squad in the lead 1-0. Now in, trying to snipe a shot upstairs, goaltender moving his blocker and elbow up. I don't think he got a piece of it. I think that target was just off the mark. We're 15 seconds away from the halfway point of the opening frame. We'll have just a 60-second break in between periods 1 and 2. If you're new to watching the broadcast here on Youth Hockey Hub for the tournament coverage, want to make sure you're aware of that so you don't maybe take a 5-minute break, come back and find out you've missed important action here in the second period. And if early results are any indication, this one looks like it'll be a good one as these two teams seem pretty evenly matched, and there's definitely parity as Anderson comes away with a steal from out front as he brought it over the goal line. He was met by the stick of Jackson Johnson, the netminder, who hails from Grant, Minnesota, is a Mahtomedi Zephyr. Kicked forward and across the line, just onside. Anderson was fed there by line mate Trayton Schumacher, who's got a couple of points, a goal and an assist for the Beaver Dam native. In all alone is Betzold. Betzold cuts in, goes forehand and scores. Not the prettiest of results as he also took a crash into the goalpost, but he'll take that as his squad is now evened the game at 1 apiece. Betzold scoring just 8 minutes and 24 seconds into the period, and we've got ourselves a 1-1 game. So Betzold and Minnesota picking up the goal. That is already his 4th in just over 3 games. 3 games and now about 8.5 minutes gone. And a blocker save by the netminder. So they'll look to move it around. And it's in, and that's going to be Gavin Core coming right back. Minnesota with back-to-back goals. Core picking up the pieces in tight from the netminder's right. And Minnesota moments ago was trailing 1-0. They're now on top as they flip the script. It's 2-1, the boys in blue. The goals coming 43 seconds apart. And Minnesota right back at it. And Betzold and Core both picking up points on the play, as it was Core feeding Betzold moments ago. And returning the favor, Betzold and Core get the goals. Minnesota gets the lead, and they're looking for more. They'll feed this ahead off the backhand of Cole Bronshausen. Cutting inside, but stripped of it. And so we will have, this is just offside and a good call by the linesman. A little bit premature was Nathan Budos, the goal scorer for Great Lakes. 4:57 left to go in the first. Already 3 goals, and these teams have been applying offensive pressure. Goaltenders have played well to this point, but just a couple they were not able to come up with. That's kicked out at the last second by a skate. A slow roller, and the netminder had to be careful as he had a player from Great Lakes coming in, hoping there'd be a rebound, none to be found. 4 minutes, 28 seconds left to go in our opening frame, and the draw will come to the netminder's glove side. That's over to his left. Chipped around his opposition. That was Oren that they were able to play it around. High shot elevated off the mark, held in at the point. Looking to advance it is Blaine Cron, an Eagle, Wisconsin native. And also one of 8 players on this Great Lakes team that plays for the Milwaukee Admirals program. Firing a shot, pad save the netminder, then tried to get over with his glove, unable to get there in time as it had been swept away. Fortunately for him, no damage done. And Great Lakes will bring it into the offensive zone from the far right angle. Get it to go kiss just inside the crease, but it doesn't stay there long as nobody home in white to try to bang that one through. Netminder makes a stop and then followed up aggressively by the Minnesota player. The officials do their job. Don't let it get out of hand, but whistle the play dead as the goaltender did have possession. So we'll take a face-off to his left for his efforts. 3:08 remaining. This attempt by Minnesota actually ends up banking off the back of the netting. Sent out front, great chance in tight. I believe that was Henry Ament. And with time and space, although the space starting to evaporate, Great Lakes tries to wrap it around the left side. They will get an exit as it's Sabel who gets it ahead. Earhart cuts through on the backhand, and with that pressure that forced him wide, now out front, and no time for Sabel as he was met with resistance immediately as soon as he found a little bit of daylight in the slot. That kicks off of a Great Lakes skate, so a bad break for the Great Lakes squad as Minnesota tries to keep the pressure up and keep the puck in the offensive zone. They'll come up with a forechecking steal, looking to center it out front. Now tied up along the wall from the left point, lifted up. And we've had a lot of time here in Great Lakes end, but Minnesota has not been able to drop a lot of pressure, although I'm sure they're quite fine with just keeping it at this end of the rink, as that means they've been able to keep the offense of Great Lakes at bay. As I mentioned, Great Lakes has scored 10 goals in just 2 games, 5 in each of them. So they're quite content to go ahead and play at this end of the rink. Great Lakes on the face-off at the blue line of Minnesota, but can't keep it there. Minute to play, and Minnesota coming up with it. They'll look to fire a shot, and this is taken out by Bronshausen. Bronshausen cuts over to the right, tries to get a pass through. That was broken up by Braden Hamoki, a Grafton, Ohio native, and one of 4 Cleveland Barons on this Great Lakes squad. That was stripped away by Guile. Guile has to follow it up, gets it over the blue line thanks to an outlet pass. Spun around on the play and then knocked to his seat is Budos. Bronshausen tries to slip that one through. Kind of a 50-50 there, whether you'd call that a shot or a pass. 10 seconds to go in the period. Sharp angle shot, and the Minnesota squad celebrating, and it's a delayed call, but it's in from almost no angle. Why not take a shot? And for Minnesota, it works out to perfection. Time of the goal, 14 minutes and 53 seconds of the period. And we've got ourselves a 3-1 lead for Minnesota here at the campus of the University of Minnesota. Fed back over, the horn will sound, and that'll be the end of the first. We'll be back in 60 seconds with the start of your second period. Minnesota 3, Great Lakes 1. You're watching the 2018 North American Hockey Showcase on Youth Hockey Hub. We'll switch ends and get right back at it. Great Lakes in white, Carolina blue numerals, and navy trim going from left to right. They trail Minnesota in baby blue uniforms, white numerals and navy trim, now going from right to left. Minnesota with a 2-on-1 advantage. Across the line cleanly. They'll feed it back over, and missing on the shot was Cade Sherman, the Rosemont, Minnesota native. Got tangled up and took a spill. Seems to be all right, as he's going to be the last man back defensively for Minnesota. Netminder having to be careful there, but does cover up. And we'll take a face-off to the right of the goaltender. played around, and Lentz will come away with it. Feeds it ahead. On for Betzold. And the shot was generated by Great Lakes' Nathan Ante out of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, just off the mark. They'll try to feather that one through, but nice job blocking the shot, preventing it from getting on target. Sent out front, and a loose puck there for a moment in tight, going from forehand to backhand. Then a drive from Stanius, and actually looked like that might take a deflection off of Ament, as he was there looking to try to get a redirection. Back to chase it is Sam Schultz. They'll get this ahead, clean at the line. No, just offside as Betzold brings it across. So Tucker Johnson picking up his first goal of the tournament just moments ago. Braunhausen as well as Stanius with the assists. And it comes at the very end of the period. Just 6.6 ticks left on the clock. Minnesota increased their lead to 3-1. Poked at and brought across. Backhanded effort to get it out does not come through as Guile is able to defend the blue line and keep it in. Stanius out front, Braunshausen, and a tap-in goal for Johnson on the back door. Those three combined for a goal at the end of the first period, and they'll do it here again to start the second. Tick, tack, and Johnson is the toe that slams it home. 4-1, Minnesota on top. Stanius with the initial pass into the slot, and then it looked like Braunshausen was going to tee up a howitzer. Instead, he says, I've got a man wide open at the back door. I'll just let him have the tap in. And great line chemistry as those three pick up their second point each on the goal. Back in their own end, Minnesota with time, and they'll backhand that deep and around. Well, they've got it as Stanius from Braunshausen. I've got it the other way around. Either way, both players is going to end up with an assist on Tucker Johnson's second goal of the contest, second goal in about a less than a 4-minute span, at least as far as time played goes. But a tripping call will put Great Lakes on the man advantage, and that comes in the defensive zone. The positive is that you'd rather take a penalty in the defensive end just because you hate taking penalties in the offensive zone. That means that something went drastically wrong, likely, unless it was going to be a break the other way. Weren't doing it for services like trying to protect your goalie and your net, rather trying to create offense. The bad news is here at this level, since it's not an automatic move of the draw into the offensive zone, then when you take one in the defensive zone, that means your opposition is starting out with a great field position. However, offside the call against Great Lakes. And we'll take Minnesota. Moving it ahead with time. Curling around, 5 minutes gone by here in period number 2. For Minnesota, the guilty party is Cade Sherman. Tripping the call, and Great Lakes will clear the zone. Lentz, that's not necessarily something you want to say, though. When your team's on the power play, you're hoping that they're not worried about clearing their defensive zone, rather moving the puck down the ice. And it's a long ways from that goal line as he drags it out, playing on a 200 by 100 foot sheet. Formerly just Mariucci Arena, now 3M Arena at Mariucci. Steered into the corner to Lentz by his netminder, Jackson Johnson. Johnson sharing the duties with Owen Lundborg. Lundborg picked up a 3-2 victory, while Johnson played in a 2-1 overtime loss to Rocky Mountain. It was Lundborg back in the net for the 8-4 loss to Great Plains. Here's Minnesota still shorthanded for another 14 seconds. Betzold tries to feed that across the blue line, and it's knocked down and out. Great Lakes sends it over with time, and looking to get the shot off was Trayton Schumacher. Nice job defending by Minnesota. Betzold now will take his time, gains the line, a 3-on-2 if they hurry. Betzold now feeds it over and lifted up and over. Table was set there, and a nice setup for Core. Gavin Core getting just a little bit too much elevation on that attempt. Nice job by Sam Schultz. Spin move to get the heat out of a hot kitchen. Firing a shot on, and then no rebound. Though had there been one, it certainly would have been pounced on for a goal. Great Lakes with the strong play by Mark Michelson out of Kenosha, Wisconsin. A lot of Minnesota-Wisconsin border battles going on in this one. Everybody on the Minnesota squad hailing from the land of 10,000 lakes. Players on this Great Lakes squad from Wisconsin, while they've got 4 from Ohio and 2 from Michigan, both hailing from the UP. Firing a shot, big stop by the netminder. Not sure if then Johnson came back with a second save or if that one just went wide, but you heard on that first one the thundering sound of the puck caroming off the pads. We've reached the second half of regulation. Now 7:11 left to go in the second, and ahead for Stanius. Stanius into the offensive zone, wide right. He'll stop on a dime, and the Great Lakes squad in transition heading the other way. Going right down Broadway, or at least attempting to, was Nunag with a couple of touches trying to dangle. And I chuckle because Beckett Sabadosh, the netminder on the Great Lakes squad, was sat all alone at one side of the bench and is very interested in getting the best look he can. Because of that, nearly got his helmet taken off with his head sticking over. And quite honestly, I think he's doing his job, saying, if I'm not going to be in this one on the ice, I'm going to help out my teammates by talking, communicating, and giving them encouragement, as this is a glove save. I also think just because of the way I've seen his head pointed at some players, he might be working on his chirping from the bench, as he seems to have had a couple of things to say to the players as they skate by or even get caught up next to them. 6:14 to go, 4-1. The guest in this one, the visiting team, Minnesota, which I find obviously a little bit humorous that Minnesota is the away team against Great Lakes here on the campus of the University of Minnesota. We're in beautiful Minneapolis, Minnesota, as the Youth Hockey Hub's broadcast of the 2018 North American Hockey Showcase takes us away from our regular venue, the Bloomington Ice Garden, and has us playing 3 here this morning. We'll return back to the Bloomington Ice Garden for a 4 o'clock showdown this afternoon with Rocky Mountain taking on Great Plains. At 5:45, it'll be Minnesota taking on North America, and New England taking on this Great Lakes squad at 7:30. Over, firing, and a stop by the goaltender. I believe he got it with his glove, although that's obviously on the left side of his body, but with his glove coming over to the right, that puck continued to carry him off there. And we don't want to forget we've got still one more game here at Mariucci. It's an 11:30 showdown, USA and North America up next. Into the corner, Great Lakes dragging it out was Tristan Heerly. They'll try to throw it on target, and that'll be held off by the netminder. One more time, we'll take a look at the standings. Right now, it's New England alone in first with 9 points. Rocky Mountain right on their heels with 8, although New England does have a game in hand. Great Plains alone in third with 6. Minnesota in fourth with 4, and should this score hold up, that would leapfrog them up to third. Then it's Great Lakes with 3, and USA and North America looking for their first points of the tournament, trying to get on the board. A trickling puck, and Anderson can't slam it home. Anderson tried to go on it, bring it over to his backhand, and now we're going to have a penalty, and it's going to be a roughing call. I believe this is going to be Guile. And it is indeed. What's interesting is that the Great Lakes fans thought there should have been a penalty called for the skirmish that prevented Anderson from having a tap-in goal. But it all ends up being the same, as it's the same result. It was just the extra shot that Guile got in there, not to prevent the goal, but instead, as we have a whistle here held onto by the Minnesota netminder Johnson. So if you're a fan of old-time bruiser hockey, well, same result, but Guile got in one more shot for good measure. Setting up, trying to get a pass through, and that's broken up. This one will go the length of the ice. So Minnesota shorthanded and called for the icing with 3:31 to play. Minute 34 left on the roughing call to Guile. Fed up the right wing side. Taking his time, looking to set the scene is Earhart. Fires, and that was redirected. Then they try to bank one home from behind the goal line, looking for a deflection off the netminder. Maybe some team's sweaters slowing it down, enough for somebody to get a piece of it. Here's Stanius, short-handed, tries a bid for the far side, misses. And with 2:52 left to go in the second, Minnesota on top 4-1. Great Lakes trying to use their special teams to cut into the lead. They're clean at the line. They'll wait. fire a low shot, and that is kept away and out of the crease. In tight, out front, and a shot blocked as that was Earhart setting up Sabel. Waiting at the line was Johnson. 20 seconds left as Johnson and Minnesota looking to kill off this penalty. A diving move, a shorthanded goal, and a beauty. Tucker Johnson spins counterclockwise, had little angle, and was able to split the pads of the netminder, and it is a hat trick goal for Tucker Johnson, and his squad is on top 5-1. And that's a natural hat trick for Tucker Johnson, scoring at 14:53 of period number 1, then 3:18 of the second, and 12:49 of the third. And better news for Minnesota, as they are now full strength. They'll call that Johnson unassisted. And coming into the contest, Tucker Johnson out of Edina, Minnesota, did not have a point. He's now got 3 in all of them. Goals here to balloon his squad's lead from 2-1 to 5-1. This is brought in by Otten. Otten comes in on the backhand, tries to lift it over up the netminder, and he gloves it out of mid-air, leaves a little bit of a rebound, but covers that up. Otten with fantastic coordination shown there. The long outlet pass over to his right off of the boards, and had to be a little bit stylish there. I thought that one was going to blow right by him like a car in the fast lane, taken off by somebody going 10 miles under the speed limit, but Otten pulled that into himself, gave himself a fantastic chance on the backhand. He was denied by Great Lakes' Mark Michelson. We're in the final minute of play in period number 2. They'll look to set up, held in from the dasher board by Bramer Bank. Elevated shot rising up, but it goes parallel to the goal line, not perpendicular. And so with the last half minute of this second, this is held in. A shot that hits traffic. Trying to follow it up was Heerly, and he had 2 good looks there. Minnesota will come out unscathed. Schultz will start the breakout. They'll get this ahead. Firing a shot was Sherman. Now Otten. Otten winds, drives and scores, and it will count. No time left in the second period. And Minnesota with 1 more goal. It's Dylan Otten's 3rd of the tournament, and it puts his squad on top 6-1. We'll take a quick timeout, and we'll be back for the conclusion of this one. Minnesota 6, Great Lakes 1. You're watching the 2018 North American Hockey Showcase on Youth Hockey Hub. 6-1 the score here. Minnesota on top of Great Lakes in the 2018 North American Hockey Showcase on Youth Hockey Hub. Core steps up and floats one towards the net. That one hit just outside as it kisses off the post. Setting his sights there was Ryder Betzold, and why not? He's already gotten a goal from Core, and he's given one out to him. But Tucker Johnson has scored the last three, or excuse me, I was going to say the last three before Dylan Otten scored with no time left. 14:59 time of the goal in the second period. And that is why we start the period with a 6-1 lead for Minnesota. That's also why, unless Great Lakes can score the next one, we will have running time here in period number 3. Ahead for Sobel. Sobel clean at the line from the top of the left circle. Lets that one go, gloved by the netminder and held onto by Jackson Johnson. Johnson's had a fantastic start to his tournament. Was victimized twice in the first game, although has below a 2-0 goals against average, as it took an extra, just under 4 minutes for Rocky Mountain to come away with the overtime victory in that one. Here has given up just one through 2 periods and now a little bit more. And it was actually Great Lakes scoring just 3:16 in, Nathan Budos giving them the lead. It would not last, however, as Betzold scored about 5 minutes later and 45 seconds after that. Core giving Minnesota the lead they have not relinquished yet. Trying to get that over for Minnesota's Tucker Johnson. And why not keep feeding the hot hand, right? As that's played by Great Lakes out of the zone. They'll get this ahead. Budos across the line. They're 2-on-2. Now Minnesota getting the reinforcements back. The cavalry arrives, and they're able to defend. Schultz trying to get it up the line for Johnson. Johnson showing that he's got game at all 200 feet of this ice as he's back in the defensive zone helping out. They'll tie it up, and the whistle blows at 12:40, though the clock will continue to roll. My name's Eric Zamora, bringing you the play-by-play. Greg Tinty, our camera operator and producer. And the 2018-19 schedule for the Youth Hockey Hub tournaments, as this one is poked away from the netminder Johnson, includes Western States Invitational in September, the Big Pumpkin in October. November will see Blue Ox and the Gobbler tournaments. Lumberjack Cup and the December Dangle Fest taking place in December. In January, we've got the Founders Cup and Squirtacular. And in March of 2019, Stars of Tomorrow. For more information on any of these tournaments, go to youthhockeyhub.com. On the face-off, won by Great Lakes. They'll look to keep it in the zone, and it got not quite out to the blue line. Ante, make sure it doesn't continue out into neutral ice. Great Lakes trying to apply some pressure. It's Anderson deep, and he's helped out by line mate Sobel, but they're unable to keep the point. However, this is Delosier who closes what was for a moment an open lane, and they try a long outlet pass, does Minnesota. That will be barricaded by Delosier. Now back in the other way. Minnesota in on the rush. This will be elevated high. Looked like the netminder initially wanted to play with the glove, saw it was too far over, tried to blocker it, and ends up having to dive in front of himself to cover up at the top of the crease. 10:51 left to go in period number 3. Minnesota on top by 5. Up next, we've got a contest between USA and North America. Two teams looking to get off the schneid, as neither has recorded a point in the standings to this point. And obviously, that will not be the case after those two dance. After that, we'll take a break and head back over to Bloomington, Minnesota. Bloomington Ice Garden hosting the rest of the tournament, as that one was attempted to have the trigger pulled from the left circle, but a slash is the reason that did not come through to fruition. Now our pool play will go through Friday, and then on Saturday, what we will have is the top team getting a bye. Then the teams seeded 4 and 5 will square off Saturday morning. Teams 3 and 6. Then next 2 and 7, they'll take a break, and from 3 to 4:30 we'll have the Continental Divide. Saturday evening, the semifinals and a championship will be crowned Sunday at approximately 10 a.m. Shot from the point, takes a deflection, and the clock will keep running because Minnesota's goaltender, Jackson Johnson, able to come up with the stop there. His squad is shorthanded without the services of Henry Ament. Some of the participants of the next game starting to trickle in and get a look as their curiosity peaks. 8:36 left to go in regulation. Shot off the mark, and Guile will pick it up, backhand it up, and it'll be lifted out of the zone. Great Lakes getting back defensively is Budos. He's fought off it by Johnson. And the Youth Hockey Hub Player of the Game nominations have got to early on be for Johnson. Although don't take away what this goaltender has done also. Johnson, that's Jackson, making the stops. Tucker tucking the puck into the net. 13 seconds before we're back to even strength. A breakup by the goaltender Johnson uses the opposite side of his paddle to prevent that pass from getting through. Out of the box and back into the action is Ament. Anderson comes up with a steal as he had Sobel there for a moment. Minnesota now heading the other way across the line from the left side. Options. They'll elect to go inside to Tucker. Johnson a little bit behind him, and from one knee tried to drag that over, get the shot off. Unable to, as a timely back check by the Great Lakes team breaks it up. Then diving forward, a little bit of a collision there with the netminder. Great Lakes will try to cycle it back down in deep, and bodies hugging the boards prevents that from getting anywhere. Firing a shot. And this will be wrapped around the boards to the left point. They'll try to get a deep ante, helping break that up, although Minnesota relentless on the attack. Cutting around, looking for an area to distribute that ends up kicking off the side of the cage. I believe that was Sherman trying to center. Across the line and firing one on target is Gephardt. Thrown towards the net, steered aside calmly and coolly by the netminder Johnson. Here's Otten. Otten had a drive and a score in the closing second of the period. In fact, less than that with the goal, as this is covered up long enough to warrant the whistle. Less than a second to go when Otten with a clapper, top of the circles to end the second period. Not enough time to warrant stopping the clock and then having a meaningless face-off at center ice. And that's the last time either one of these teams has found the back of the net. 5 minutes, 8 seconds left to go in regulation. Minnesota holds the point, dumps it in And the goaltender will escort that over to the left side as his defense tries to break out. We've got a whistle behind the play. Offside the call. We'll set up to do it again. Cutting in, trying to deposit it was Nunag as he tried to go in on the forehand, just sent wide. Stepping up and looking to move it is Gavin Kaur over for Betzold. Those two have done a lot of damage together so far. Betzold, however, trying to get the other player involved, and there's something you don't see too often. Henry Ahmet gets called for the offside, was trying desperately to not touch the puck, but lost an edge from the seat of his pants. The puck touched him. 4:05 left to go in period number 3. And the draw outside the Great Lakes blue line. They'll wait, feed it over, and trying to get the shot off was Budos. He's got the lone goal for Great Lakes in this competition. So Minnesota doing something that the other teams that Great Lakes has faced have had much more difficulty doing. That's slowing down this Great Lakes offense. They scored 5 in each of the first goals, but to this point, Great Lakes has only struck once. Lentz with an outlet pass to Tucker Johnson. Johnson met with heavy resistance, and Great Lakes will keep the line, but lose the puck in the process. This is ahead, and with time, cutting across was Bronshausen. Bronshausen tried to hit Stanius. Those two have connected a couple of times on Tucker Johnson goals. The third Johnson goal was unassisted and shorthanded. Snapping a shot, elevated well high and off the mark. Schumacher got all of that. In fact, got too much of that. Behind the goal line. And brought ahead with time and space. Now firing a shot, a quick wrister, and clangs off the back glass. 2:12 left to go in this contest. Minnesota currently sits in the standings with 4 points. As this is sent through the crease and out, they will leapfrog ahead of Great Plains, at least for the moment, and come away with sitting in a third place with the victory. Great Plains has a game in hand. They're the one team that does not play here at Mariucci Arena. As behind the play, Schultz is spun down. So that game in hand will last until Minnesota ends up with a break in the action. In essence, as this is thrown towards the net, the tournament is set up where it's in sets of 3 games, and since there's 7 teams, one team each time there's a session, in essence, has a bye. 70 seconds to go in the contest. And this one will float all the way out to Kaur, who is making a change. Kaur comes in all alone, waits, tries to go backhand, is denied by the goaltender. It's loose for a moment, and the official blows that dead. Great job there by Mark Michelson, winning the race with Kaur to that far side post. 45 seconds left in this one. Minnesota will improve their record to 2-1-0. Excuse me, 2-1-0-1 as they drop the decision to Rocky Mountain in extra time. For Great Lakes, they're going to fall to 1-2. Their next game will be this evening against New England, and that's going to be a tough task for the Great Lakes squad. Minnesota will be back in action at 5:45, taking on North America. Both of those games taking place over on Rink 2 at the Bloomington Ice Garden. Well, a final here as we had goals from Great Lakes by Budos. On the Minnesota side, it was Betzold, Core, Johnson, Johnson, and Johnson once more, and Otten getting the final goal. So for myself, Eric Zamora, for Greg Tinty, our camera operator and our engineer and producer, we thank you for tuning in, and we hope to catch you next time. It's a 6-1 final. Minnesota advances past Great Lakes. You're watching the 2018 North American Hockey Showcase on Youth Hockey Hub.